On Monday, October 9th, don't miss the KBLA Talk 1580 exclusive. The tape. 1 year later.
Y'all were coming for us.
Yeah, but Tavis, that's not in my heart. I wasn't coming for anyone like that. I apologize, but that was not me. That's not in my heart. And like I said a few moments ago, I have a solid, demonstrable record of shared power that's real and concrete. That can't be misinterpreted.
Join Tavis Smiley and an all-star panel of political insiders, influencers, and journalists for a look back at the crisis that shook LA City Hall when 4 Latino leaders were caught on tape making racist, demeaning, and derogatory statements about black people and other fellow citizens. On Monday, October 9th, exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580, The Tape, 1 year later. We'll broadcast live an afternoon drive from 5 to 7 p.m. with an immediate encore presentation from 7 to 9 p.m. When all was said and done, was more said than done. 1 year later, are there fractures in LA's black-brown political partnership? And where do we go from here? Don't miss The Tape, 1 year later. Only on KBLA Talk 1580, Monday, October 9th, live from 5 to 7 p.m. with an immediate encore presentation from 7 to 9 p.m. We've got a lot to talk about.
It's here and I like it. Big Will, KC, y'all, bringing it in. What? Say what? Say what? And do what with it? Here it comes, the party of a lifetime. 31st of December. Man, I remember when the ball dropped for 90. Now it's 9-9. 10 years behind me. What's gonna happen? Don't nobody know. We'll see when the clock hits to 12:00. Chaos, the cops gonna block the street. Man, who the hell cares? Don't stop the beat.
It's Monday.
Yo, it's on tonight.
You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Welcome in. I hope your weekend was amazing. I hope you are relaxed. You have a snack or two, and you are ready to get into some things here on RSVP with me, Jill Munroe. This is the show where we hit all the trending topics and headlines across entertainment, sports, lifestyle, and culture. Listen, as the station says, we have a lot to talk about. You know, when we come off of the weekend, a lot happens. So the list is going to be lengthy and enjoyable, as always. But before we get into all of these headlines and trending topics, I have to let you know that if you're not already, hit us up on social, KBLA 1580, everywhere. If you're not following me, you're missing out, really. Follow me at Stiletto Jill, everywhere once again. And of course, download the app so that you can take us with you on the go. You can listen at any time, any place, any of the shows here on the station. And of course, if you're into YouTube and you want to get the visual with your audio impact, hit us up on YouTube. The chat is always lively. Lots of opinions, all of that going on. So let me give you a quick rundown of what we're going to be getting into tonight. First up, Kerry Washington. She has a new memoir that has been released today. And naturally, she is on a press tour for such. It's called Thicker Than Water. And she's revealing some secrets. Of course, that's what we want from memoirs, right? We want to see the underside of things, get a deeper connection to the subject. But in this case, one of the secrets she drops involves her parents. So we're going to discuss that and if, how much consideration should you give to family when you're telling your own story? So that's one. We're also going to get into, it's promo season. Drake keeps pushing back his For All the Dogs album. We've seen little promo stunts as we've gone on. And his most recent one is against Charlemagne the God. And really, it seemed kind of like, why are Drake and Charlemagne beefing but not? Why is Drake reacting to something so benign from Charlemagne? And on the Breakfast Club, Charlemagne said a reason why, but said he was joking or lying. But I kind of think that there's some truth to it. Is this just part of the album rollout? And is trolling the best way to keep attention on you with a new project coming up. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to get into the big announcement. We know that Usher has been announced to headline the Super Bowl coming up in 2024 in Las Vegas. Very appropriate. So in the third hour, not only are we going to give Usher his flowers because this is a well-deserved situation, but we're going to discuss why people have seemed to have such a hard time recognizing that Usher is Beyonce's contemporary. Those two are it. As far as the superstars across our genres and the longevity, they're one and one. You can't. We'll get into that, though, in the third hour. We're also going to get into, Beyonce hit Houston this weekend with the Renaissance Tour to do 2 dates there. There's only 2 more dates left of the tour. So we'll get into who was there, little tidbits of that. Of course, we're going to talk about Beyonce's touring nemesis. They're not really nemesis, but people pair them up against each other all the time. Taylor Swift, I'm sure if you watched any NFL yesterday, you got a lot of Taylor Swift information. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and why her reasoning for being in those NFL conversations has kind of taken social media by storm. I kind of want to get your thoughts and opinions to see what you think about this. We're also going to get into, listen. Now we know Carisha Please, the podcast, always gets those sound bites. They get the things that get the people going because, of course, Carisha can have some conversations that maybe other people necessarily cannot have. Celebrities would not take kindly to, let's say me, asking some of the questions that Carisha asked, or maybe, someone else. They may not be as open. But Ari Fletcher, who is a celebrity, I guess, Instagram famous, her child's father and boyfriend are both celebrities, so she, by extension, is celebrity adjacent and has a large following on social media, and she's on reality TV. They had a conversation during Revolt World. There were a lot of things that happened during Revolt World this weekend, and we'll get into some more of them. But it's kind of interesting, and it's a question about boundaries and boundaries with exes and children's, significant others when you're co-parenting. So we're going to get into a little bit of that. We're going to get into why the city of Malibu is mad at a Kardashian. They got beef. And, of course, we're going to talk about the game that happened this weekend because we're all college football fans now, firmly on the Colorado Buffaloes bandwagon, even though we lost. We're going to get into a little bit of what happened this weekend, the fallout, the follow-up, and all of that. So you have that to look forward to. And when we come forward, we'll get into those conversation starters, those topics that are bubbling out there. We may not have the full details. There may not be full details. They're just exciting things that we want to let you know what's going on in the world of entertainment, sports, lifestyle, and culture. So all of that and more, you are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
More when we come forward.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action is the youth component of the impactful CBO, known as the Community Coalition. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action has chapters at almost every South LA high school. Say Yeah, as they are popularly known, is located at 80th and Vermont, but serves young people all over South LA. Under the COCO umbrella, they train youth organizers, help underserved scholars prepare for college, and work with students to help them gain admission to top universities. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action fosters teen activism, where young people have led campaigns moving tens of millions of dollars to South LA schools and forcing officials to make AP classes available to students in under-resourced institutions. SCES scholars have taken part in the March on Washington, been published in major news outlets, and been elected to city council. Long before she was mayor, Kerry Karen Bass started the program when she founded the Community Coalition. To donate, volunteer, or enroll a student in South Central Youth Empowered Through Action, please visit cocsouthla.org. cocsouthla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, I'm MC Light. You know me as the rapper. But guess what? I am the CEO of Sunny Girl Incorporated. We call it SGI. And SGI undoubtedly has a Cadillac, an Escalade to be exact. It's luxury at its finest. It's black, it's sleek, it's clean, and I can show up to any red carpet or any event and feel like I'm flossing. I love it. Cadillac.
Visit Cadillac.com for more.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
The rent is too damn high. KBLA joins you in calling for affordable housing. The LA Tenants Union is a diverse, tenant-led movement fighting for the human right to housing for all. The LA Tenants Union demands safe, affordable housing and union rent control. They organize against landlord harassment, mass evictions, and displacement, and mobilize for the repeal of the Ellis Act and Costa-Hawkins Act. The LA Tenants Union is on a mission to strengthen tenants' political power through education, advocacy, and direct action. To get help with your eviction or other landlord-tenant issues, take action for justice, or become a member, visit latenantsunion.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Happy Monday. So listen, I said that we had a couple of conversation starters that, you know, things I wanted to get into before we got into the real topics of the night. So first of all, I mentioned already that the Renaissance Tour pulled into Houston over the weekend, Beyonce's hometown. And of course, you know, they gave Special, they gave Hometown Girl Does Good. Beyonce's so funny. I like that she plants little Easter eggs in the things that she does for her fans that are long term. For example, when she was thanking Houston and saying, "I love you, Houston," it was a throwback to a speech that she did in her youth when she was younger. Same words, same cadence and tone. She does things like that a lot. I think her fans appreciate it, and it just gives that little extra added connection. Shows that, I mean, we know one of her dancers was online kind of blowing her up, saying Beyonce definitely has a burner account. We know she does. She's too connected, too tapped in. And I'm not mad at it. I know some people think that burner accounts are cowardice maybe, or, you know, not the way to go. But realistically, Beyonce may want to comment and scroll without it coming back. Beyonce said that sexy red doesn't bother her. You know, everything doesn't have to be a political statement, which everything that you like, tap, comment on, favorite, or whatever becomes a part of defining who you are at this juncture because of social media. And sometimes it's not really that deep. It's just a moment. We have a comment in the chat. What I didn't mention is if you want to get in on any of this conversation at any time, hit us up, 800-920-1580. That's the dial-in number. We love to hear from you. Love to hear your commentary. Tony Yayo in the chat says, do publicists pay blogs to post about D-list celebs? Tired of opening my phone and seeing tons of posts on Blueface and his lady. You know, we'll talk about that shortly. And the answer is, it's complicated. Something like that. It depends. But we'll get into that, Tony Yayo. That's a good topic, and we will definitely touch on that. Well, actually, why wait? We'll talk about it now really quickly. Well, after I finish up my Renaissance thing. So what we were looking forward to, well, what I was looking forward to, so all 5 of the former Destiny Child members were in the building. We don't count Farrah. Farrah wasn't in it long enough. And, you know, she should go take care of her luggage. I hope y'all got that reference. That was the MTV Diary. Anyway, but who was in Houston for the Renaissance tour. We saw Tamar Braxton, Lizzo, Normani, Coco Jones, Victoria Monet, The Dream, Trey the Truth, Bun B, Slim Thug, and like I said, all the young ladies of Destiny's Child. LaToya and Latavia looked particularly proud of Beyonce taking the stage. I'm telling you, I expect, I don't know if it's a single, an appearance, something. I expect some type of Destiny's Child pseudo reunion content, whatever, coming up for the 25th anniversary of the group. I think it fits. I think it's only right. And then B can go on a vacation again. And oh, can I remind you, we still have 0 visuals from the Renaissance album. No videos. None. So anyway, of course, I mentioned if you watched football this weekend, if you especially watched the Chiefs game, there was a lot of attention paid to Taylor Swift. She was in a skybox with Travis Kelce's mom, cheering him on. He scored a touchdown. You know, Patrick Mahomes was asked about it after the game. There were shots of them leaving the stadium. They were shot in the the convertible, driving off. And some are saying, well, there's a lot that's being said about, you know, Travis and Taylor. One, some people are questioning, hey, what happened, Travis, our white king that loves black queens? Where are you going? We know that he was dating model Kayla Nicole for a very long time. And, you know, it helped him in popularity, at least amongst black women, I believe. He was highly coveted. And then they broke up, and there were things in an interview where Kayla indicated that she paid for most things herself, that, you know, basically she wasn't being, taken care of in the way that some would expect an athlete's significant other to be taken care of, right? So there was a little controversy about that. And now Kayla's taking down stray shots as people are comparing her to Taylor Swift, or Taylor Swift's fans are taking shots at her. And then on both sides, some black men and some black women on social media are questioning Travis. The black men, they're laughing at some of the black women saying, oh, you thought you had one. Even he has moved back to home, which I don't think that's fair. I mean, I don't know. If you go to venture off into dating other races, are you obligated to only date the other race that you step to for the rest of your life? Are you never allowed to come back home to your, roots per se? Spread your preferences around like an assorted mixed bag of candy? I don't know. But some people are questioning what the deal is with that. And then some women are saying that they felt used or abandoned because Taylor is the exact opposite of Kayla. I think that there's a lot of projection that seems to happen with these celebrity relationships. And I'm sure it's something that has always been around, but social media seems to have heightened the importance of these connections and what they mean overall. And that's not to say or to imply that, there isn't an impact from what we see in the day-to-day existence. But I do think that there's an overemphasis played on that. And it just seems like it's just for random fodder conversation because it's not the reality for most people. Mimi in the chat says, thanks, Jill. Yes, Travis Kelce went from chocolate to vanilla, and apparently he's frugal. Kayla did say that he's a little frugal. I mean, he said he pays for stuff, though. He was like, be clear, I pay for stuff. I guess it's just not, he's not going to do you come home and here's a car, here is 27 bouquets of eternal roses and a diamond Philippe Petit and, a chain and a ring. He's not going to do all of that. And so I don't know. It's okay. Not everybody is to do that. Do you really even want that? Like, Tiana, I was listening to not listening to something. Supposedly, a girl that was dealing with Amon Shumpert after Tiana Taylor was discussing, she leaked to the blogs some of the conversations, and she brought up that Amon said that Tiana was upset with him, allegedly, this is all alleged, that he bought 15 cars. And I was like, well, yeah, she's going to be upset. Come on, be realistic. Cars can be an investment, but real rap. Did you need 15 cars a month? Could you have done it with 5? You got kids. I don't know. Andy, you look like you have something to say.
Some people are collectors.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe that's what it is too. And who knows? Maybe he might be selling those cars later. I don't know. But back to Travis Kelce and him being frugal. I mean, when you're dating somebody like Taylor Swift,
you don't got to worry about that.
That's my point. So,
I mean, but he was frugal with Kayla Nicole. Things might be different with Taylor. We don't know.
Was he married to Kayla?
No, they dated for many. He's not going to be married to Taylor either.
Exactly. So you don't get no husband privileges. Sorry.
So you're saying Taylor's not going to give him husband privileges? I think it's going to be, here's the thing, I do think because there's some people that think that this is totally a promo thing because Taylor has not been the type to really flaunt her relationships until maybe after they were over, or you kind of discover them and she writes about them. So some people are saying, might this be a PR stunt? And it could be. It could be a PR stunt and they still could get together and really like each other. That's happened before. But what I did find that I thought was funny, interesting, is they were saying, oh, Taylor's usually with these emo guys, these actor guys, these guys that are more in touch with a different aspect of themselves, so to speak. And now she's with this athlete, this, macho guy who's running guys down for a living. She might never look back.
Who got a little bit of flavor. So, if it doesn't work out between Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, she might be over on the chocolate side. I'm just saying.
Maybe, but here's the thing. He might dial back his flavor and explore more of his, beach bum rambunctious side or something.
I don't know if that's in Travis Kelce's best interest. Keep the swagger.
Yeah.
Keep the swagger, because if you lose that swagger, I don't know. Pat Mahomes might be a little bit upset.
I mean, listen, he might be stepping into Pat Mahomes' territory, right? It's always so interesting to me. Pat Mahomes is the exact opposite of his dad. So funny.
Absolutely.
His dad is what we call a real one, so it seems,
He probably spent more time with moms, maybe.
Probably. I mean, his dad was a professional athlete. And, generally, we know what happens when you are playing a sport. You end up with a lot of time with mom, and that's just the way it is.
And Pops was probably like, I don't want you to grow up the way I grew up, so who knows?
We're going to show you something different. We're not mad at that. So to answer your question, Tony Yayo, you brought up if publicists play blogs for hits. Sometimes they do, but there's things like if you look at podcast guests, there are certain podcasts that people are paid, can pay to be a part of. Now, as to whether the blogs are being paid to post about Krishan and Blueface, I don't believe so. I think that, one, you discount the idea that people love to see a train wreck. And they really do. They're young. They're, wild and out. She's an attractive girl, very emotional. There's the dynamic with the other woman, the baby's mom, and him bouncing back and forth. Listen, this is like every hood novel that you saw in the 90s. It's like a part of a Tubi movie right now. So people love to see a disaster. They love to see, things go down. And what it is with Zeus right now, I mean, look, there's an audience for this stuff. Obviously, it wouldn't be there if there wasn't. I think that there are boundaries crossing, but who am I? It's not for me, clearly. And so because it's not for me, I am not a consumer of it, and I leave it at that. I don't have Zeus. I don't watch the programming. I see the stuff in social media. I'm not blind, and obviously I'm a commentator, so my job is to comment and check in on things, but I don't make that a regular part of my consumption. I see what's happening. I see it as very sad, but what I also probably recognize is much like the Alexis Skies before Krishan and, any of the other moms that were Instagram popular that we see that at some point seem to straighten up their act and then move on. People will move on from them quickly. They say that they want to see you get better. They say that they want to see you do better and have, more quality interactions for your child, for your health, for your safety, for whatever. But oftentimes when people make those changes, their fans are gone. They're not as popular. They're not as sought after because they're not out there in the midst of it. And I think, too, one, their fans are probably young and excited by, all the drama back and forth. But then, two, it also gives people an opportunity to feel better about their own mess. Like, yeah, my stuff may be this, but at least it's not that. So that's why I think that we will continue to hear about the Krishans and Bluefaces, and why I don't think the blogs are being paid. I think that they are simple. It's simple math. They're looking at that engagement. They're looking at the number of comments, the number of click-throughs or whatever, the number of video plays, and they're like, yep, right there, that's my coins. So those are my thoughts on that, Tony Yayo. Pretty Brown Mimi says, well, the Kardashian-Jenner family may be A-list celebrities, but I'm overhearing about them too. A lot of people are. I mean, listen, that's what happens, especially now. You think about the news cycle. We've been in a 24/7 news cycle for about, I think it started really peaking up in the 90s, right? When you think about it, CNN started getting more popular and stuff. So we had news, then we expanded it out. Now with your cell phone, you're everywhere with everything. It's like an addiction. How often do you go without checking your cell phone? Just wondering. So I don't know. You can try and block, you can try and mute. I just try and sidestep stuff. But obviously I take in a lot of content, so it's different from me. Tony Yayo says, yep, seen over 50,000 comments on a single post. Exactly. So if you're getting that kind of engagement on a topic, you're going to try and duplicate it. And then you're going to try and duplicate that again. So, it's a catch-22. We can be mad at the distributor, or we can be mad at the people that are consuming the content. Because while I do think that there is an aspect of programming that goes on that people talk about, or, sometimes playing to the lowest common factor, we want that. And at the end of the day, it's a business. So you got to respect it. When we come forward, more trending topics and headlines. We'll get into that Kerry Washington story, all that and more. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Everybody knowing that 12 o'clock the roof will be blowing. Drinks on me, up the cups. Midnight coming full thrust. Get Clark holding it down. Second hand rolling around. 100,000 deep, worldwide press. Hate to be the man, gotta clean this mess. Same resolution, get the money. Ain't where we been, it's where we gon' be. Get ready to hum old lang syne. Cause a person that know the words is hard to find. First soul train line of the year. 4, 3, 2, 1.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Esther Dillard, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. The White House is warning of the consequences of a government shutdown at the end of the month. Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack said a shutdown would cut nutritional assistance for nearly 7 million mothers and children covered by the WIC program. Congress needs to pass legislation to fund the government before October 1st. Meanwhile, New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez says he expects to be exonerated of federal bribery and corruption charges. The Democrat responded to the indictment saying many have rushed to judgment based on a limited set of facts. Authorities said a search of the Menendez home turned up gold bars and nearly $500,000 in hidden cash. He's resisted calls to resign from Congress. And the Writers Guild of America and Hollywood's top studios have reached a tentative agreement to resolve the ongoing writers' strike. And that's the latest. I'm Esther Dillard from the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Need an accident attorney by your side? All you got to do is call the Accident Guys.
Injured in a car accident or at work? The Accident Guys can come to you almost anywhere, so you don't have to come to us. Se habla español.
On Monday, October 9th, don't miss the KBLA Talk 1580 exclusive. The tape. 1 year later.
Y'all were coming for us.
Yeah, but Tavis, that's not in my heart. I wasn't coming for anyone like that. I apologize, but that was not me. That's not in my heart. And like I said a few moments ago, I have a solid, demonstrable record of shared power that's real and concrete. That can't be misinterpreted.
Join Tavis Smiley and an all-star panel of political insiders, influencers, and journalists for a look back at the crisis that shook LA City Hall when 4 Latino leaders were caught on tape making racist, demeaning, and derogatory statements about black people and other fellow citizens. On Monday, October 9th, exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580, The Tape. 1 year later. We're broadcast live in afternoon drive from 5 to 7 p.m. with an immediate encore presentation from 7 to 9 p.m. When all was said and done, was more said than done. 1 year later. Are there fractures in LA's black-brown political partnership? And where do we go from here? Don't miss The Tape. 1 year later. Only on KBLA Talk 1580. Monday, October 9th. Live from 5 to 7 p.m. with an immediate encore presentation from 7 to 9 p.m. We've got a lot to talk about.
Some people won't give you the real talk on drugs, but it's time we know the facts. Fentanyl is killing people. It's a powerful opioid, often made illegally and commonly mixed with illicit drugs. It can even be pressed into counterfeit pills that resemble prescription medications. Just 2 milligrams, about the size of a few grains of sand, can potentially be lethal. This isn't an ad to scare you, but it is an ad to make you think twice. Get the facts. Go to realdealonfentanyl.com. This message is brought to you by the Ad Council.
Meet Bruce.
Hey there.
He's a busy soccer dad who's trying hard to learn the game.
Go for the end zone.
Whoops. Luckily, other things come easy, like banking with Chase. On a tip from his banker, he set up autosave in the Chase mobile app. So what are you saving for, Bruce?
Father-daughter soccer camp.
Smart bankers, convenient tools. One bank with the power of both. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Autosave requires a Chase checking and savings account. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Tired of being locked out of job opportunities and shut down by systemic racism? KBLA stands with you in fighting for the rights of black workers, and we don't black down. The Los Angeles Black Workers Center is a dynamic alliance of workers, organized labor, community-based organizations, clergy, students, and scholars, working collectively to improve the position of the black working class. The LA Black Workers Center takes a comprehensive approach to addressing the black jobs crisis. Their programs promote access to quality jobs, racial equity in hiring and retention, discrimination-free job sites, and they prepare black workers for employment in high-wage, career-track jobs. The Black Workers Center supports workers who need help protecting their rights on the job. They give workers access to quality jobs and remove systemic barriers to employment. To sign up for free career readiness training, get involved in organizing around anti-discrimination, learn about union apprenticeship programs, or sign on to a trade registry, please visit www.lablackworkerscenter.org. That's lablackworkerscenter.org. Together, we can beat the black jobs crisis. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
Anyone can choose to make a difference. You can help people succeed, rebuild after disasters, protect the environment, or feed the hungry. Not only will you make a difference for others, but for yourself. You can earn money for college, learn career skills, and make friendships that last a lifetime. Make a difference. Choose your future. Choose America.
Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I gotta grind, won't stop, hustle, won't quit, shine like no other, I be on some other shit. I got a high price lifestyle, super bad, if I want it, bet I got it, if I don't bet, all I gotta do is go, get, stay about my business, ball till I fall, floss until I finish, I did go, get, stay about my business, I live in just the killing, stacking millions to the ceiling, every day above ground, all I wanna do is ball, put my money over. Put my hustle overall.
We're officially in Libra season. We have been for a couple of days. I was remiss and not mentioning that it's Will Smith's birthday, which was why we got the Will Smith in the open. And I'm rolling with my Libra theme here, Andy. I got you. T.I. Tip. It's his birthday. Happy birthday, T.I. And then just so that we're not forgetting that I really know a little bit about this astrology stuff and this Libra stuff, Travis Kelce is also a Libra. And Taylor Swift is a Sagittarius. Libra and Sagittarius go very well together. They pair very well together. Libra can deal with the Sag's tendency to run off and try other things and then come back and balance, because you know they're all about balance. You know what I think about Libra men? Low key, a little controlling. We've ran down the list. Snoop, T.I., Nick Cannon. I wrote the list down this weekend because
Don't disrespect, Jill.
I'm not disrespecting. It's not a bad thing. I'm just saying. This is just observations. Okay, here's some more. Genuine, Jermaine Dupri.
These are all Libras?
Yes.
Libra gang, you already know.
Kevin Durant.
KD.
Yeah, so y'all out there. It's a lot of y'all representing. It's a sample.
Lil Wayne.
Yeah, listen. See, how am I forgetting Lil Wayne? There's a pattern there. Maybe you see it, maybe you don't. Indulge me, though, if you do, and let me know. Give it up. Shout out to the Libra gang, though. So listen, we got to talk about this Kerry Washington stuff. It's kind of interesting. I don't know how it would feel, because your story, right, is your story to tell. It's you. You move through life. Sometimes it involves other people. You know, there are interactions. And how you feel in the moment is how you feel, right? But sometimes in telling your story, you were telling someone else's too. And what happens if that's a family member and it reveals what could be deemed sensitive information? Well, that's kind of what's happening with Kerry Washington. As I mentioned, her new memoir, Thicker Than Water, dropped today. And she shared that she discovered in 2018 that her father, Earl Washington, is not her biological father. And she said it sent her on a journey of self-discovery. To quote People, she said, "It really turned my world upside down." She explained that she discovered this family secret after she told her parents that she was planning on appearing on Finding Your Roots, which is on PBS with Henry Louis Gates Jr., right? And it's a series where they talk to celebrities and they learn about them through DNA testing and trace their roots, right? So after holding on to the secret for decades, Kerry's mom, Valerie, a professor, and her father, a real estate agent, had a private conversation with Gates and told them, who shared with them, it's usually a pretty good idea for families to discuss the findings or situations before it airs, right? So this was in the spring of 2018. And so Kerry said that when she got the information, she was like, oh, I know my story. And, she said she always kind of felt like something was missing, but she didn't really know that she was kind of playing what she felt a supporting character all of her life. So she said that, she's trying to give her parents grace in a difficult moment, but she had a lot of questions for them. And she said she learned that her mother opted to use an anonymous sperm donor to help her conceive after struggling with fertility issues. And they admitted that they had all but decided to never tell her. So, one, we've seen the question floating on social media, and as inappropriate as it is, it's just going to come up. In the 70s, how likely, not implying that they're not telling the truth about the situation, but in the 70s, how common was artificial insemination in sperm banks? Was that something that, the average black family in the Bronx could just run out and go do? So I decided to research a little bit about sperm donors and the whole concept. So the first successful pregnancy from frozen sperm happened in 1953. And the sperm bank industry started ramping up in the 70s. And the commercialization of it became avoidable. Became tainted, I should say, during the 1980s when the AIDS epidemic broke out. And so because there was a possibility of, transmission and things of that nature, it changed the industry drastically. There is also concerns of changing things about laws and regulations because they wanted to diminish the opportunity of unknowingly siblings dating or marrying each other out in the free world. Anyway, I say all this to say that in the 1970s, in 77 or 78, when this would have been happening, and again, I don't know these people. I am not implying anything. I'm just saying what the research says is that would have been very expensive and, a lot to undertake. But really the question is, in talking about this discovery, because Kerry also discusses in there having an abortion and some other things, which this is her life. This is what happened. And this is what she chose to share. But do you think that, and obviously her parents were okay with her revealing this information because they've since gone on with the launch of her book, understanding how sensitive it is to do interviews together. But they did say that initially they, didn't want it out there and felt a certain type of way. How do you balance the desire to share your story, to share what you've gone through, to potentially help others with the privacy and the dignity of your family or your parents? Do you think that they had the right to that, considering that they kept that from her? So she discovered this 5 years ago. So she was well into her 40s. I mean, is it fair? She was raised, she had a good life, 2-parent home. Her parents were there, but listen, Pretty Brown Mimi in the chat says, I missed the Kerry Washington interview. Take note, Gabrielle Union, mysterious and stop oversharing. Well, maybe, but Kerry's sharing an awful lot in this book, and she's going on a tour where she will be discussing the things that she's sharing. And I think that with Gabrielle Union, people take that too. Gabby wrote a book, and I think it's more of the same thing, kind of sharing to build that bridge and to kind of maybe be the person or give the insight to someone that they might have wished was around when they were younger, when they were coming up. And granted, people may take it the wrong way, but I also think sometimes people don't really listen to what Gabby has to say. They take from it what they want to. But that's a conversation for another day. So when we come forward, we will have more trending topics and headlines. We'll get into Magic Johnson's reaction to the cancellation of Winning Time. And we will also talk about the health concerns that are happening with a member of Bone Thugs and Harmony. All of that and more. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
When my family does Walt Disney World Resort, we do it big.
Bippity boppity big, like Cinderella Castle.
Uh-huh, big, like those juicy turkey legs from Gaston's Tavern.
It doesn't get any bigger than the Tam Tam Drummers. Get it, Grandma.
Yeah, and big like Goofy's kicks. Yup.
It's your world, so do it big at Walt Disney World Resort.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for education as a right, not a privilege. Charles R. Drew University of Medicine and Science is a private, non-profit, community-founded, student-centered university committed to cultivating diverse health profession leaders who are dedicated to social justice and health equity for underserved populations. CDU does this through outstanding education, clinical service, and community engagement. Recently, Charles Drew University made history by opening only the 5th medical school at an historically black university. Congratulations, South LA, and congratulations to the dean of the medical school, Dr. Deborah Protho-Stith. CDU is now training doctors and providing $90 million in annual economic benefit to Watts and surrounding neighborhoods. To apply for medical school, get more information, or sign your child up for the Junior Doctors Saturday School program, visit cdrewu.edu. That's cdrewu.edu. At KBLA, we are dedicated to equity in education and ending healthcare apartheid, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Sometimes we lose, sometimes we win. Sometimes we try to fit it all in. Sometimes we don't know what's in store. Sometimes we find what we're looking for. Sometimes we're rolling easy and free. Sometimes 1 and 1 makes 3. So much to love along this ride. That's why Nationwide is on your side.
Nationwide Mutual Insurance Company and Affiliates, Columbus, Ohio.
What is dedication?
My biggest fear in the middle of my addiction was that my kids wouldn't have a father. And I started thinking, you know what? This isn't my story. I definitely had to become a better man to be a better father. It's important to me that my kids are empowered and truly believe that if they can think it, they can do it.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. I hope you are having a good time. I hope that if you are just joining us, you are comfortable. Listen, if you feel like you want to get in on any of these topics, 800-920-1580. Of course, social media is always an option. KBLA 1580, or hit me up at Stiletto Jill. Now back to these trending topics and headlines. By the way, I didn't run down Travis's stats from Sunday, just in case you were wondering. 7 catches, 69 yards, and a touchdown. He gained 300,000 social media followers because Taylor was at the game to see him. A 400% increase in merchandise sales. And he now has one of the top 5 selling jerseys in the NFL. So, you know, there are some benefits to even appearing as if you might possibly be linking up with Taylor Swift. We'll see how far into the season that lasts. So I mentioned Magic Johnson. He was stopped on the red carpet for the Elizabeth Taylor Ball to end AIDS over the weekend. And he was asked if he had any reaction to the cancellation of Winning Time. Now, if you remember when the series first launched, Magic was against the show, said that he wasn't going to watch, didn't appreciate a show being made about the Lakers involving even a portion of his life without any of those larger than life personalities being involved in the process. At the same time that Winning Time was launching, there also was a 10-episode docuseries on Hulu about the Laker dynasty. And Magic, of course, had his own docuseries that was released on Apple TV Plus called They Call Me Magic, which was amazing. So his response to the cancellation was, I never watched. None of us watched it because it was fictional. Jeannie watched it. Jeannie Buss actually supported it. But that might have happened too because her fiance, now husband, was also featured in the cast. But that's a separate conversation. Magic said, you can't just tell that story. But hey, that's on them. He said that he might consider telling his own story in a fictionalized, autobiographic, big screen type of situation. But he said that if he were to do that, he has two of the biggest friends in the business that he would go to handle that for him, Denzel Washington and Samuel L. Jackson. He said, so if I was ever to do it, it would be with one of my friends because they already know me. And that's sort of it on that. I guess Magic's like, well, that's over now. We can move on. I mean, here's the thing, though. You think about all of the things that Magic did. And, of course, I'm going to get on my Magic soapbox for a second because he's my favorite along with Kobe. Listen, the first half of his career, obviously, what he accomplished in the NBA before he got to the NBA in college and all of that, amazing. We know what he did with the Lakers. But that second half, what he did when he transformed himself into a business executive has been amazing to me. I mean, Magic Johnson Enterprises, listen, co-owner of the Dodgers, the Sparks, the Los Angeles Football Club. He has an esports franchise team, Liquid. He also has controlling interest in Equitrust, which is a multi-billion-dollar financial services company. And he has a food service company that's a part of facilities management, Also, the Commanders recently. I think that he has a ring for every sports team in every league except football. So, I don't know. I appreciate Magic. I do think that he should have checked out Winning Time, though. I understand his hesitancy, but it was a really good show. And I bet you those numbers are going to shoot up now that it's canceled and you can just stream it. So that's it on that. We want to give prayers out to the Cleveland legend Crazy Bone of Bone Thugs and Harmony. He reportedly checked himself into a hospital on Friday, the 22nd, after coughing up large amounts of blood. He suffers from sarcoidosis, and that is a condition where the immune system overreacts and causes groups of cells to form clusters on inflamed tissue, and it usually gathers in the lungs or the lymph nodes. According to the Mayo Clinic, there's no cure for this, and the severity of it varies from person to person. It can cause organ damage, which they believe might have contributed to Crazy's recent hospitalization. He was born Anthony Anderson, reportedly fighting for his life. He's in a Los Angeles area hospital, and he received a CAT scan while there, and he discovered that there was internal bleeding in one of his lungs. So he was immediately taken into surgery. He's 50 years old. He's currently put on a ventilator. His family has asked for privacy, and they are thankful for the prayers. Excuse me. If you are not familiar with this disease, it is what Bernie Mac had, comedian Bernie Mac, that caused us to lose him so early. So we really want to send prayers out to Crazy Bone. Hope that he can recover from this and pull it together and have, an amazing bounce back and recovery. It's really kind of tragic. He was just playing new music on his social media before the incident happened that sent him to the hospital. So prayers out for him. So I know, who was it? Pretty Brown Mimi mentioned in the chat that she was tired of hearing about the Kardashians, but I have a little bit of Kardashian news. And later, I have a Kardashian observation, but that'll be third hour, so don't worry about it right now. But for this one, Kourtney Kardashian is being blasted by the mayor of Malibu. They are claiming that her people lied to get a permit to throw a party. The mayor of Malibu is named Bruce Silverstein, and he said an event planner filed an application with Malibu claiming that it was for a baby shower. We know Kourtney is pregnant right now with her husband Travis. They are expecting the new one soon. And they asked for an emergency expedited permit for a very large event at a single family house. They filed the permit because there were parking issues with the crowd, etc., etc. It wasn't Kourtney's house, they were renting it. So the permit and application said that it would have 94 guests for a baby shower. It was, in fact, for her brand Poosh, which is a wellness and lifestyle line, and they said around 600 people showed up. And the mayor was pissed. He says, as an elected official, I am appalled by the situation, and it helps me understand what residents throughout the city are dealing with. Not a good look for the city, although it is great to add to non-residents who want to come here and destroy the residents' peaceful enjoyment of their homes. I understand that the event has been represented to be a baby shower that is being hosted by the owner of the property. Both of those representations are contrary to what the event planner told me, which was that the house is being rented for an influencer event. Obviously, one story or the other is false. So, listen, it was supposedly a hot event. It had the Gorillas there, Diplo, Adriana Maddox, a bunch of others, but they are requesting that, they're requesting an internal investigation to find out if any city employees are guilty of fraud. And they also had a city council meeting that was set up for today. So I'm sure that we will find out what the outcome of all of that was. In hour 2, we're going to get into, what happened this weekend with Colorado and Oregon, how the trolling still continues. There's a lot there. We're going to get into all of that. We're going to get into, speaking of trolling, Drake. Is his new approach for album rollouts just to troll everybody and be a nuisance across social media? We're going to talk about that. We're also going to look at what 2 white celebrities might possibly be related, and how Maury Povich said that he would make a comeback to run the DNA test and let them know if they are actually related. We'll get into that story. And, of course, more trending topics and headlines. We'll talk about what TV network might be moving up out of L.A., the bling that Drake bestowed on somebody, and also what he is one hit away from tying. All of that and more. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Make sure that you are locked and loaded for hour 2. News and sports is up next.
Bright lifestyle, super bad. If I want it, bet I got it. If I don't bet, all I gotta do is go. Stay about my business. Ball till I fall. Lost until I finish. I just go. Stay about my business. I live in jet to kill it, stacking million to the ceiling. I live like late night, get when I take flight. I get paid, no sick days. My outfit's on switchblade. Don't sniff, but I blow drone.